Tricks and twats?
Twix and twats.
Indeed.
Dribs
And
and
that is
drabs
the
of
opening, ladies and gentlemen.
dribs and drabs of thrips and twats.
Today we'll be discussing pop culture at its finest.
I feel
I'm Aaron.
introductions are necessary.
I'm not a large man.
Are we doing real names or fake names?
I'm going to go for my actual name. I've got
Actual
nothing to
name.
hide.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
fair enough
Alec.
as it is.
Shut up.
Okay.
I'm Alec. I'm the other large man.
I'm Will. I'm the original large man.
And so together we're 2.5 large men.
So let's get down to business.
Get down to business. What was the order? Oh yeah, James Bond came out,
Yeah,
and it was fine.
a single large man saw it. Another one was
One-
two.
one and a
I
half.
actually watched Bone Tomahawk, I'll have you know, which I will talk about in detail.
He's going
In
to talk
detail.
about Tomahawk as if it was Spectre while we talk about Spectre.
Yeah, we'll talk about Spectre, and you just occasionally come in with, and then he ate a man. And we go, yes.
Look, we
Yeah.
can do it in separate parts. It's not a problem.
That would be logical. But yes, Spectre was good.
I
But
think the problem with Spectre is that it's come off the back of 2 incredibly good Bond films, and
Wait, no,
apparently
what?
there was another one which I don't know about.
Yeah.
So,
Sure, it's
like,
no Casino Royale.
Because Casino Royale was mental,
Mm.
Skyfall was brilliant, and then
Yeah.
Spectre, which isn't a bad film by any run of the, like, it's good, but it's not Skyfall.
Yeah,
So-
I think because one thing they obviously tried to do was mix everything together, and I feel if that had been done with slightly more poison grace, then that could have been amazing.
Yeah,
But
because
also, if it had been half an hour shorter.
they do spend a lot of time going, oh, and remember when this happened in Skyfall, and they just sort of ignore Quantum of Solace entirely, which isn't a bad decision.
It's true, but equally,
my
Quantum of
opinion.
Solace was the most Spectre-like of them all. Though it is weird, because I mean, is Quantum like a subchain of Spectre? Is it like you know how like a corporation owns many different companies? Is Quantum just one of the many?
It's a
Why would you-
franchise.
Why would you need to partition your secret society?
It's a franchise. It's like, they sold out one branch in some market town, and then a local up-and-coming guy's like, I'll buy that off you, and I'll run it for you, and really badly,
True. But
because
yeah,
now
also
we're all
how
dead.
shit do you have to be to end up in like the Bolivia branch of Spectre? Like, I would want to be where the action is. Like,
Well,
you must look at the New York guys with envy.
but that was where all the free money was. You just go and privatize a water supply, and then bam, evil genius. Whereas if you're in the West, you've got to put some effort in. You've
Nah.
got to set up those ridiculous meetings in public locations with loads of expensive cars.
The opera.
Yeah. Or, in that giant old historic building where you all sit around a table and like an evil United Nations.
I just feel like when Blofeld is doling out the tasks, so it's like, well, you're building the Death Ray, yours is the base on the moon, and you've got to privatize the water. And he's like, wait, what?
Yeah, because
No,
they mentioned Quantum of Solace perhaps twice, and the whole way through they're going, do you remember Vesper in Casino Royale? Do you remember M in Skyfall? And then they sort of go, oh yeah, and that guy from Quantum of Solace too, like once in like a lift, and then they never mention it again.
Well, wasn't Mr. White from Quantum of Solace? Like, I
Mm,
swear.
he was like from the end of Casino Royale though, like.
I guess true. And the beginning of Quantum of Solace, like, yeah,
Well,
no, I did. I mean, I'm fine with them brushing over Quantum of Solace, but I guess if you're gonna like make it all one arching plot, someone did point out to me though, apparently that the whole thing is alluded to in Casino Royale, which I didn't realize. Like,
Oh.
when because someone goes like, he is not happy at the end.
No.
If I might interject.
Yep.
Pardon me for comparing a AAA film series to something on BBC Two, but this reminds me a lot of the Bad Wolf convoluted story arc from Doctor Who.
Yeah, it is a bit, except it kind of is, except for some. Spectre was kind of the payoff at the end of the trip of the. It makes. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's almost like you're expected to, you're expected, you can almost say.
Oh, this guy.
To put the pieces together yourself, but at the same time, it's not quite complex enough to pull it off.
Well, a lot of times the thing with the Doctor Who, a lot of stuff is they sort of give you these ideas and then you're expected to put them together, even though you have no reason to or particular way how to.
Or urge to, if you're me.
No. Whereas like with Spectre, when spoilers, when he finds out who not Blofeld is, he then says his name and he's like, Google this guy to Moneypenny. And then it's just sort of meant to be like this big reveal. It's like, oh my god, he's that guy from Bond's past. And yet you have no way of knowing that it's that guy from Bond's past.
No, I feel the name should have been dropped into Skyfall, like at some point. It's like, this is where you and Oppenhauser, or whatever it's called, used
Not
to play.
Blofeld.
Yeah, Blofeld. I'm
Not
getting really
Blofeld.
tired of this as well, actually, because they did this in Star Trek as well. It's like he's not Khan. It's like, no, you can't. You can't like pretend the big villains in it when you definitely cast someone to be that big villain.
Yeah. Well, Khan was an Asian dude, so
It's
Yeah,
true. That did hit everyone out of left field. Maybe he's
Benedict
just done that.
Cumbersing.
Maybe that was his mistake, casting a very obviously Austrian man.
Hello, James Bond. I'm from Austria. Would you like to go mountain climbing with me? Yeah.
Because if they cast Lucy Liu as Blofeld,
Oh,
Bond
that would be
leaders,
amazing.
we would have all been taken away when when the reveal was there. But
I think
Well,
I
how did
realised the
they?
snag
Go on.
is that I have watched Casino Royale when it came out and Skyfall when it came out, and I like them, but because I didn't watch Quantum of Solace, I don't think I can piece together anything at the moment.
Oh, they very.
Nah, because I mean
Yeah.
the Inspector, like, because each one is very modularized, like, because Blofeld's like, you failed this operation and this operation, and they're very much, each one was its own separate adventure that he failed, that then they've just clumsily said, oh, Spectre was behind all 3 of those, by the way.
Really badly.
Ha! Oh.
Because they sort of well, to put it in perspective, when Mark asked me, "Wait, who's Mr. White?" I didn't go, "Oh, do you remember Quantum of Solace? He's the guy from that." I went, "He's the guy that Bond shoots in the leg at the end of the first one." He's like, "Oh yeah, that guy."
Yeah.
Whereas if I'd gone, "He's the guy from the start of Quantum of Solace," he would probably gone, "Huh?" Because
His
I
eyes would-
also,
his eyes
while
would have glazed over
explaining,
into the back of his head.
while explaining it, forgot that he was in Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
And I
I
forgot
think I'm the only
most
person
of.
who remembered that out of everyone I've known, and that's only because I quite like the actor, and I wish to support his work.
Yeah, he's good, like fake John Hurt. But
Yeah, he's
I
like
th-
we really made him up to be fake John Hurt in the last one as well.
the only thing I really remember from Quantum of Solace is the plane bit, and even then I only remember that they jumped out of it on a
The
boat or
opera bit
something.
is what stays with me, like where he's just traipsing around the opera for 20 minutes.
I remember they froze his cards because that was like austerity, and I thought it was funny.
Oh yeah.
They're like, freeze his cards, and
And obviously the big
there
reveal
was
about what he was trying to prevent was great. I mean, that is
just that
memorable.
thing that happened all the time.
Mhm.
Oh, and that uncomfortable sexual assault, like attempt, which was a bit unnecessary.
But yeah, to conclude, well, like, you not watching Quantum of Solace will in no way deter you from watching Spectre.
And I think that while we've
Okay,
winked
that's
about Spectre, we should point out that it's still an absolute barrel of laughs.
Oh yeah, like it's
Like,
funny. I don't think
it's-
it's campy like they claimed it was. Like,
It's campy-er, but that's only because Bond isn't getting his balls whipped by Mads Mikkelsen. Like,
so good.
But what I don't
yeah.
understand is why Daniel Craig, who's cast as quite a gritty, sort of more down-to-earth Bond than his immediate predecessor, which was Brosnan, and yet they cast him against such unbelievably metrosexual and sort of
That's true.
carry-on style villains. It doesn't make sense.
I
I
think
feel every
that's.
film but Quantum of Solace has had a pretty kind of homo/metrosexual villain involved.
I think that's
And
kind
Quantum
of
of
the
Solace
point.
sucks, so maybe that's the key. Maybe you need campy villains.
Balance. It's like
Yeah.
two sides of the force. The incredibly heteronormative Daniel Craig
Yeah.
and I feel like Javier Bardem's villain is still the best I've seen in a Bond yet. But then again, I quite like Javier Bardem.
Man, see again, Mads Mikkelsen for me. I think the Sharif is.
Well, what was
such
the chief's thing? He cried blood, and that was it.
What do you mean? He was a like stone cold con man gambler. He was great.
No, I think Silver's campy hacker was better.
But see,
I
I
don't
think Javier Bardem's sort of campy, jaded, embittered man.
Oh
is-
yeah, with the
It's
melty
kind
face.
of odd. He's very happy, and yet at the same time incredibly sort of like. There's no overarching aim for Javier Bardem's character, who I apologise for getting the name of, other than
Sylvia.
revenge, and I think that works better for a Bond film.
Nah, because like the thing with the chief was like he was a businessman. He was trying to run a criminal operation, and he was like, Bond, you're a continual annoyance. But because I quite like you, I will continue to fuck you over. Like, because didn't just exist for the sake of Bond. Like, he was a man trying to do his own shit. Like,
True, it gives him a sense of more believability. I
yeah,
suppose.
and like again, I thought the bits in Spectre where Mads Mikkelsen's face appears are way more impactful because of that. Because you're like, shit, Bond has been fighting against an organization that controls the world.
Yeah, the thing is, like, the thing about Skyfall is that even though Bond wins, he's lost. Like, he's failed. His mission was to protect M, and he fucked up.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's- and, like,
I
it's
did
quite
think they didn't bring
impactful,
that
yeah.
up. Like, I think that was an afterthought in the film. Like, that only comes up in like the second half. That whole thing.
Well, he's quite bummed out about it.
Well, he kind of
He's
mentions why
kinda-
he's bummed out about it.
Kind of
He
bummed
doesn't.
out.
How does that film start? It doesn't start with any.
It does.
reference
He's
to-
doing he does that really cool Day of the Dead scene in that tracking shot,
Yeah,
which
doesn't
a
seem
lot
too
of
bummed
people.
out then.
Well, because the opening to Spectre is like everyone's going about how mental it is, and it's pretty mental, but it's mainly just really cool.
Mm.
Like it's just got a really cool soundtrack, really cool setting. At one point, Bond goes into a room with an incredibly attractive woman and takes off his suit to reveal another slightly nicer suit, and
Yeah,
then which
that
is
was
one of the most James Bond things I've ever seen.
That got a laugh in the cinema. I like
Yeah,
that.
it was good. It was funny, and then goes off and accidentally causes a terrorist attack by shooting a bomb, which wasn't brought up again, which I thought it should have been.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
James Bond
I
launched a
mean-
terrorist attack on Mexico by accident.
My favorite bit, my favorite stupid bit in the film, and I think it was unintentionally stupid, is when they're all voting on the initiative, and South Africa just presses the big red no button, and I go, that is how world politics is decided.
Well, they
Nope.
had to find a visual way to show from sexy Voldemort's perspective
That the
what
South
there was
Africans are
going
saying
on.
no.
Yeah, and then it was funny though. Oh,
Just like China taps yes as well. It's like, yep.
Yep. As if China would be on board with giving their intelligence streams to the West. They were like, no, fuck off.
Yeah,
We're
considering
all right,
every other
cheers.
power there was Western, except, well, I mean, arguably South Africa, then, I mean, which is still pretty Western, then
Yeah.
it was like China's no right being here. No, yeah, I
But-
mean, I thought the beginning attack really is good because it threads into the reason that they're doing the initiative and the reason Ralph Fiennes even has a character.
Yeah, who would say at least he's really doing his best. Like he can't run properly for some reason, but he's actually doing stuff in this one. And he is separate from M, which is nice.
He feels a
Like-
lot weaker as well, which he would because he's an immediate successor.
And he's all stressed out about it. Yeah, but it was also nice that he has got this edge of like old school spy. You know, he goes to safe houses and he carries a gun in his overcoat. We haven't actually said more about what you like about Spectre, which is mainly Dave Bautista.
Yeah, David Bautista is in this
He's-
film and he
Then
looks
WWE
like an
Batista.
ape in a suit and he's great every step of the way.
He's just sort of he appears, he kills a man. He appears later in like a beret or like a flat cap, kills him, like tries to kill a man.
If you
And
get
then he-
the car chase.
Yeah, he appears in. He gets stuffed into a tiny. Well, the car's massive, but the actual compartment for Dave Bautista is woefully inadequate. It's like he looks ridiculous. It's like squeezing a fucking like melon into a can of baked beans. It's
And it's-
ridiculous.
The
The
best bit.
Batista.
The
Yeah,
Batista.
This is Batista, the Guardians of the Galaxy guy,
My
and
God, as
former
if that
wrestler.
wasn't enough for him.
He's huge as well. He's absolutely massive.
I mean, he's got some real stage presence. I think he's pretty
Oh,
good.
Like
Yeah,
he
he's the
barely
most
said
angry
anything.
looking big beefcake. Because if The Rock did it, I think it would become even more campy. And The Rock would be like making constant smiles towards the camera so that everyone know that he's a nice guy deep down.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this afterwards. We were saying how good it would have been if John Cena had played it, and like everything he would have done differently.
in
Like when
full
he's driving that
like
car, he'd look so good.
in full hustle, loyalty, respect gear as well.
He'd
Like
have to be a branch of the CIA at least if he was a good guy.
And like when the guy's neck gets attached to the kegs, you can just like down them. Like...
because Batista says nothing, and yet I was always looking forward to him appearing.
Yeah.
Because he was just this huge. Like, there's a bit where he's shooting at Bond out of like they're in a car driving away, and then Bond turns up in a plane. They're on a mountain, so Bond gets level with them, rolls up to them, then rolls the window down and gives them a little nod, which is pretty like
That
that's
whole
an
s- that
that's
whole scene-
indicative of how campy it is now.
that whole scene, I was explaining this to Will the other day, is I watched that scene and the Wallace and Gromit airplane scene
They're
from
the same?
Close Shave,
Oh, yes.
and they are literally the same shots. Like, person flies alongside van, person zooms around to try and disrail van, person goes through small building, gets wings clipped off, and continues to fly plane. Daniel Craig is Gromit.
Well, I don't know if he didn't fly it; he just sort of steered it on the ground.
There's
Whilst-
nothing wrong with an homage to great British
I
television.
hope it was a homage to Wallace and Gromit.
It was really good. And then Batista pulls out his gun, which is a double gun for some reason. It's got two barrels.
Naturally, yes.
It's like it's just two pistols welded together for
But
some
he is a
reason.
double human.
See, again, to parallel, John Cena's would have been a golden deagle, and
Yeah.
they would have been held on the side.
They would have had like an engraved stars and stripes gone
Yeah.
across the side
it-
of a barrel.
A J and a C looped together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it would have maybe been like a Colt M1 911. You know, it's the most...
Maybe, but it's a bit small for John because John Cena, although very American, is still very big.
Yeah,
We could
sure,
have
he's,
the like
he's bigger than Daniel Craig, I think.
a customized massive version. That's pretty American.
Yeah. Everything's bigger in America, baby.
Even the Americans.
My
Would the theme
favorite
tune come in?
Batista moment in that film, though, was like they're on this train.
Oh, this is massive spoilers because it's a really good visual joke.
Yeah.
But,
Is it
yeah.
supposed to be a joke? Do you reckon? See, I
Oh, it
thought-
has to be a
I
joke.
thought it was lazy shooting, really.
No, it was so funny.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So
Explain.
Bond and his lady friend are dining on the train, and they're having a nice time on this train. Inexplicably, is quite well catered to just go around the desert.
It's the Orient Express, I think.
But it's going into this like we're showing on the map where it's going. It's going into like the bottom of Morocco.
It's
Um,
very
Silk Road?
throwback. It's very like throwback 70s, 60s. It's a bit.
Yeah, exactly. And it seemed like I said, I guess it just does a loop because the idea is they're going to nowhere, but there's quite a nicely catered train that goes to nowhere, so that's good.
That's great,
Um,
yeah.
So anyway, Bond and Lady Friend are dining, and
Mhm.
from the right you see Batista walk. Bond's behind. Bond's facing. His back facing. Batista walks to the table, kicks the table into the woman, and
It's fucking great.
the fight begins.
Yeah,
I was like,
and it's such a quiet moment as well. They're having like a little chat and they're bonding and they're sort of discussing stuff, and it's already like quite chilled out. And then Bond looks in the cocktail shaker with the martinis that are delivered, and there's like a shape, and it's just Batista in a waistcoat kicking a table into a woman, and then throwing Bond through a bar. It's great.
It's
I like
amazing. That entire scene was excellent.
Can
Frankly.
I ask, what were they dining on?
Aperitifs, alcohol, because it's a
true.
classic Bond film.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dirty
They've gone-
martinis.
They've not gone for any sort of gastronomical commentary then with
Not
actual
yet.
food.
But then
Okay.
if you read the Bond books, he rarely mentions food. It's always alcohol he's consuming.
Liquid
like-
lunch keeps you light on your feet. Yeah, like I mean, do they actually eat? Does anyone eat in that film?
Nah. Not as far as I remember.
'Cause
He has
Bond-
a Heineken. He has a Heineken at one point, remember? But there's no food. Like he's not stuffing a Greggs down his throat at any point. So I
That'd
don't
be
think
great.
there's a.
No, yeah, because he solves a problem with Heineken while
Yeah.
drunk off Belvedere.
Like he did last time.
Yeah, it's like because also I noticed that a lot of the films about how surveillance is bad, and so everything Bond does, he only solves through like having to be there in the room.
Yeah,
Which-
I don't get the Skyfall and Spectre obsession with surveillance being bad. And like the old way and the honest way and democracy being good. Like it's a real Churchill fan base they're going for.
But at the same time, you've got Bond, Daniel Craig's Bond, who no longer refers to himself as a spy but as an assassin. So you've got Her Majesty's
Ooh.
secret hitman running around, while also proposing to be the force of good, and it's a bit of a off tangent.
Well,
Yeah.
but the later Bonds have definitely gone for the moral grey area as a thing. You know, it's not Sean Connery and perhaps Roger Moore as well were definitely in that black and white of good British guy versus dark questionable man.
Yeah. They bring it around in this one though, I guess, by having the getting back to Spectre and the organization of ultimate evil.
Anti James Bond,
Yeah. Oh
Who-
god. Yeah.
who have a secret clubhouse in Italy and all have to wear special clubhouse rings.
See, that's why I love GoldenEye and I love Skyfall. It's because they're willing to admit that the organisation that spawned this great white knighting hero can also spawn people who really fuck up and become quite evil themselves. Okay, Sean Bean and Javier Bardem.
But it should be noted that both of those people are foreign.
Sean
True.
Bean is not foreign.
He's a Lien's Cossack. They make a huge point of that in the film. They constantly
Yeah.
are going on about how he's a Cossack.
Oh, I see.
True.
Yes, in terms of his actual character, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember we're talking about the films, Will, not Sean Bean.
No,
Sorry,
Sean Bean.
I'm just ready to rush to Sean Bean's
I know we
defense
keep
whenever
referring to them by their names because we've forgotten what the character names are.
I
now.
remember what Joe. he's called Alec actually. So I
That's
remember.
right,
Alex.
006.
Oh, there you go.
Alec
That's-
Trevelyan.
006.
Trevelyan. That's a lovely
Alec
second
Trevelyan.
name.
Yeah.
It's such a
He's a
nice name,
Lien's
Trevelyan.
Cossack.
Alec's not a very Cossack name. I'm gonna
Yes, it
throw
is.
Alexander.
Because
But,
what it is, you
Trevelyan
change it
is-
to Oleg.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
We
Alec
call
is
you
the
Like
Oleg.
the meerkat.
yeah.
But,
Alec is the anglicization of Oleg.
I
But
thought it was the
Trevelyan is
Scottishization of Alexander.
But Trevelyan is a Cornish surname, so
Oh.
there you go.
Cornish.
Mhm. Just
That must
googled it.
That must have its roots in some sort of Romano-Briton thing then.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's a Cossack, mate.
But in any case, the point being is that whilst they are foreign, but they are still people who are,
Lived
brought
the
up
life
in-
of
yeah.
of MI6 and spy agencies at large. No, I agree, and I think it's an interesting angle. I wish they would drop the whole surveillance hate, frankly.
But surveillance bad.
It's true. I know surveillance is like the buzzword of our time. It was even in The Dark Knight, 2008, whatever. But
Oh, and
yeah.
James Bond invents the NSA. Not
Yeah.
what?
Batman.
Batman even invents the
They are
NSA.
essentially the same character
They are the
now,
same
apparently.
character.
But when you mentioned something about, I'm trying to think now, when it's surveillance is bad. There was another moment in a Bond film that brings that home. I've just
Well,
forgotten.
Tomorrow Never Dies has the kind of the whole press thing, like the press is
Oh
too
no,
much
it
power.
wasn't that. It was the good old-fashioned, honest, democratic way of spying.
Oh yes,
and
yes, the old
Everyone
democratic
surely
way.
remembers the Skyfall scene where they have this caricature of a female politician going, "The golden age of espionage is long gone."
Oh, they've
I
got
don't know
that in
what
this
they're
one as
putting
well.
money in.
Oh yeah,
There's
they've.
a
I
guy,
hate
there's like
that.
a Whitehall pencil pusher who
Boo.
who's forever foiling Bond and M's plans to
Yeah.
just be heroic by his
He's like-
pencil pushing surveillance ways.
He's like young and he's got a nice suit on, and his hair's all swoopy, and he's not built at all. He's never killed anyone.
And so that makes in M's and Bond's mind that makes him subhuman. So
Have you ever
but
killed a
isn't-
man? And he's like, no.
No,
And he's
isn't
like,
Q that?
psycho.
oh, Q's great. They gave Q more of a role in this one, and it's really
Oh,
nice.
good. I did
You
like
get-
I thought it was a little bit fresh back in Skyfall
Fresh.
where Q basically said, yeah, have a gun. Oh, and it's got a radio. Bye.
Yeah, they do
Because-
that joke again in this one.
Well, no, he
It's
hacks
like-
stuff in Skyfall. He plugs in that system into MI6's network and then gets hacked and then goes shit or something.
Yeah, it's like It was admit it was necessary because even I could tell by the Brosnan era these kooky gadgets were getting out of hand. Like here, Bond, here's a Durex condom made of C4. You wrap it down, and it can cause quite an impact. A very penetrative explosion. But oh, here's a pacemaker that also doubles up as a two-way teleportation device. Sorry for the hyperbole, but that's how I perceived the gadgetry in Bond was going.
It was, and now it's here's a watch. What does it do? Pays for the director of photography's budget.
Yeah.
Please show it to the camera for 5 seconds.
I did think that's one thing Spectre did a lot better. The product placement wasn't nearly as ridiculous. Like, it was ridiculous still, obviously, but it wasn't that bad. Like, it was the car, the watch,
Yeah.
the Heineken, and the whiskey. But other than that,
And the
like,
Belvedere. Actually, the Belvedere was really good. They never actually showed the name or anything. It was just there.
yeah. But yeah, like in Skyfall, I remember one of the things I disliked most was how atrocious it was, because you had like prolonged shot of laptops, you had Samsung phones, you had the watch, you had everything. It was maddening. I think there's a Sony Xperia on for like 2 seconds, and that's about as close as it gets.
In Casino Royale, was that the one where he goes to Venice, isn't it? Or was that Skyfall?
Yeah, he goes to Venice at the end.
Yeah, because there's that sort of, it's not a tracking shot, but it's a still shot that lasts
Yeah.
a while of him on his Sony Vio laptop.
Yeah, I remember that. That's
Sony
what I
Bios are in
remember.
Skyfall as well.
I've got nothing against Sony having product placement though, because you know, they need the money. But
Because
I agree. It's taking the mick. Heineken, the drinks are always taking the mick. I think more than sort of like the technology. Although watches, as you said, are unnecessary these days.
Because what we said before we're going in, we're trying to guess the adverts, like the standard what it would be on. So there was the Heineken advert, the one for the watches, the one for Belvedere, all that sort of stuff.
Sony
And then
Xperia.
Experience. Inexplicably in the middle of it, the £130 Spectre branded Scalextric set.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Which really threw me. Like I was like, what? And I sort of looked at Aaron, and Aaron was like, Scalextrics.
Until it said the word Scalextrics, I assumed it was a kind of take the Mickey car advert or something. And they're like,
Yeah.
they run as smooth or something.
And it was actually an advert for the resurgence of Scalextrics.
I dislike numbers, but I think I would say it's a thorough 7 out of 10.
Oh, I'd say it's probably, I'd give it an 8 maybe. I'd say it's a better film than most that came out this year, but compared to the rest of Daniel Craig's run, it's probably the third best.
Yeah.
Well, he's only done 4. Obviously,
What's a
Quantum of
terrible
Solace.
film that came out this year? I'm trying to think of. An
Pixels
awful
with
one.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On a scale to Pixels to Mad Max, why didn't you talk in those terms?
What, a scale of
comparative.
between 2 options? It's
Well, I mean, on the sliding scale, I mean,
It's
I
closer
enjoyed
to Mad
Spectre
Max.
less than Mad Max by a fair margin.
But that's equally not particularly fair because Mad Max was.
Yeah. I would say I enjoyed it slightly less than Macbeth.
Did you enjoy
Okay.
Macbeth?
I really enjoyed Macbeth.
What happened to film intermissions? There always used to be film intermissions.
I think filmmakers got annoyed at them breaking up the flow, maybe.
I suppose. But when I watched Lord of the Rings, I mean, it was needed, to be fair.
I
But
remember
at least we had
seeing
a toilet break.
Die Another Day
Yes.
came out in cinemas, and
Yes,
I watched it. I watched it in a tiny cinema in Wells for some reason, and it had an intermission, and it was really
I
it was
watched
really
it in
jarring.
Cribbs Causeway, which is a district of Bristol, in case anyone who isn't from Bristol is listening. And I was watching it on a sleepover, and I was like, this is the best Bond I've ever seen.
Scene.
It's got helicopters, it's got ice palaces, an invisible car.
Space
and Pierce
lasers.
Brosnan doesn't look old as well, so I still liked him.
I think I vaguely remember enjoying Die Another Day at the time.
It was enjoyable. I mean, I'm sure as an adult, if I watched it again, because I was I'd say about 10 when it came out, I'd probably have a harsher view now.
And I think that is what people forget about a lot of Bond films, is that they're also kind of intended quietly for children. They're from that sort of age.
Yeah, younger people.
Like when you could, like bring a film out like RoboCop, which is a hard, 18R, only adults, but equally market toys on kids shows. It was like they're from that sort of age of filmmaking where children's films weren't either, the fucking Crudes or the Divergent and Hunger Games series where nothing really happens, but it kind of happens off screen. Yeah, the great the great battle for the box office money this Christmas is apparently between James Bond, which came out like 2 weeks ago, no, a week ago, and then the Hunger Games, the last one, which apparently is really huge. I always thought it's quietly died out, but apparently no, it's massive.
No, it's still massive.
I
actually saw Mockingjay Part 1 in the cinema for some reason.
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't
I
really know
saw
why.
that one.
And
No, I
it was surprisingly like it's overall like a pretty terrible film, but like some surprisingly good moments in it. Like there's some really nice shots.
What's
I
the
think they've
second
got
film? The second release, sorry.
Catching Fire, I believe.
That's the one I saw with my Mormon girlfriend.
Ugh.
I think
Uh,
I
Not
watched
not the Mormon girlfriend Catching Fire. Sorry.
girls.
Ew.
But no, I tell you what, that's my only frame of reference, I'm afraid, because as I said, teen sci-fi or any teen lit turned into film is what I'd consider Untermensch anyway. It was atrocious, and I'm going to let you talk about Mockingjay all you want, but I just want to put a record. I hate the Hunger Games.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I have a very mixed feeling towards young adult novels because I approve of anything that sustains the literary industry as someone who wishes to be a writer. But I feel that if it must be degraded in such a manner, in some capacities, I think The Hunger Games, frankly, is one of the better examples of this sort of book, and consequently, it's one of the more popular ones. Like, I mean, if you look at things like Divergent, you look at things like Twilight, like Hunger Games is at least a fair plot with admittedly a very libertarian kind of anti-state meaning behind it, but nonetheless, kind of fine. It's not actively misogynistic, at least.
Yeah, it's basically a real world version of Firefly, but to do with teenagers.
Yeah, and I think that's fine. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong about writing books aimed at teenagers, as long as they're not insulting. And I don't think The Hunger
Well,
Games is particularly insulting.
I think that it should go children's books up to 12, and then immediately people should be given Tolstoy in order to help them transition to the adult realm of literature.
because yeah,
no,
I
why,
don't
YA novels are important, I think. I really do.
because I don't think I ever liked young adult stuff
No, neither
particularly.
did I. But I think I wish it had been a young adult market when I was growing up, because I may have actually given a shit about books before I hit 16.
No, see, I was a young book person.
Nah, books for nerds.
I basically went, books for geeks. But I've only seen the first Hunger Games, and all I remember is when that bloke painted himself to look like a rock. That's all I
Oh,
can
yeah.
remember. Yeah, I remember nothing else from the Hunger Games apart from the guy who very early on in the film goes, "Oh, I used to paint cakes down at the bakery." You're like, "Oh, that's cute." And then later on, she's looking for him, and he's painted himself to look perfectly like a rock.
Yep.
It's fucking. It's like,
That
where'd you get
reads
the paint?
as ridiculously as it was in the film. I think I like the fact that Hunger Games have been around for so long now that we forget that they are a battle royale ripoff. That's good. All you need to do is
Well,
repeat something for half a decade, and we'll submit.
yeah. I mean, I don't say I'm not particularly because it's like the Twilight films. They all come out, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're shit," and then
Guilty.
everyone, and then everyone moves on, and everyone stops caring, and you forget the people who liked it at the start still like it. There's still loads of them,
I
but
actually
everyone's.
tore down Twilight posters in Gordano, which is why they frequently were up and not up in the literature department.
Well.
I don't know. I didn't make like a soapbox moment out of it, but I was like, I can't stand for a thing that has generated Matthews, other books like Walter Scott, Tolstoy, Dickens, and then Twilight. It is quite disgusting in a way. It's not aimed specifically at children, so you can't just say, "Oh, it's a kids' novel." It is meant to be kind of young adult to adult, and quite frankly, it is an embittered move on my part because it's so successful. But I think the all those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain, time to die applies for that kind of attack on literature in my eyes.
I mean, I take a what's the word, more liberal, less extreme view on it. I mean, yeah, Twilight is shit. Will be fair, but I mean, people have got to read shit before they read good stuff. Everyone's got to read what's popular. That's fine.
But sometimes they never change. Look how much fan fiction come out with Twilight.
Yeah, but like, look, who the hell talks about Twilight nowadays? Like, the only reason we've talked about Twilight in like the past 6 months is because she said she's going to rewrite Twilight because she's got nothing else. Like,
She
it's
did.
fine. If it's not meant to be, it'll run its course, and no one will ever think about it again.
Just waiting to see a penguin logo on the book one day under the title "Modern Classics of the 21st Century."
Yes, they won't be because people have always written popular guff. Like, look at any like airport bookstore
Yeah.
rack or those racks at those weird shops in hospitals.
Twilight has gone above the airport and supermarket book. It's definitely got that
Uh,
recognition.
Speaking on the general state of literature, did you see that there was a book that if you bought in Tesco had an exclusive chapter in it? I really hated that when I saw it.
That's the worst. Because either it's going to be a completely pointless chapter that has no bearing to the story in particular, because otherwise the
It'd
story
be
won't
in the
make
book.
sense,
Yeah.
or
Oh my goodness, this is awful. This is
Yeah.
people start buying season passes next.
This is what I mean. Like, I just felt that this was definitely like the DLC era of books. And it was
Pre-order-
just a very sad moment.
pre-order Hunger Games Divergent 3 at Tesco and get an exclusive, I don't know, slash fiction scene. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't
Write
read
it
a
all for herself.
non-fiction book in so
Not
long.
to be edgy, but people do talk about Twilight in recent times thanks to E.L. James, which is still Twilight in a really weird way.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but equally, like that's dying as well. Like I can't think of the last time someone unironically brought up 50 Shades of Grey, but maybe it's just the circles
But
we
look at
hang
all the
in. I don't know.
copycats. If you go in like Waitrose, Sainsbury's, or even like a Blackwell's, not to discredit Blackwell's, but they do have
Blackwell's.
Poplit. Blackwell's, yeah, the bookstore on
The
Park
bookstore, I
Street.
think, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they have Poplit. Admittedly, a small section. Thankfully, they're not pandering to the masses yet. But there are so many sort of black books with some sort of silver decor, sort of like put an angle on the front cover with like
What?
something 50 something or
It
something
happened with
shades.
Twilight as well. Like, don't you remember all the black fields with red objects that came out after Twilight? All those different like books. Like they'll go, but it'll, you know, it's just a trend. I can't imagine it'll have a particularly harmful effect on literature.
No, well, how many books are there with a fey white woman with long hair on some sort of moor or boat in a flowing dress with a man with long hair with rippling pecs and usually very tight trousers?
Mills
Like,
and Boone has its own subgenre, though. That's the thing.
well, it's
No one
allowed.
touches it. It doesn't. I would say thankfully. I mean, women have as much right to read it as they want as anyone else. But I don't think
You
you
sound
get
vaguely
housewives
begrudging.
reading sort of like "And the rogue cometh in the dark" anymore.
I think you do.
Nothing wrong with a bit of rogue come a thing, I tell you.
I think you do have rogues come a thing in the dark.
But yeah, I mean, irrespective of, I know we've kind of gone off the Star Wars.
Yeah, well,
but it's fine. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting, like section of debate. I honestly think as long as it's like, I think there can be well-written young adult novels. I think the kind of, and I think people automatically will regard something as lesser because it is a young adult novel, and I don't think that's fair. I mean, most of the time, maybe, or no, like some of the times it's correct, obviously. And I mean, I imagine someone will lower their standards if they feel they're writing for teenagers, but they shouldn't. And I think you could easily write to a high standard for
Absolutely not.
teenagers.
I think C.S. Lewis, who, because these days I reckon he'd be considered more young adult, like
Oh, definitely.
sort of like
Narnia
the
is young adult as hell.
9 to 13, because also like the writing standards have declined a little bit and the lexicon has changed. So you'd have to be a little bit older to sort of understand the way that it's written. But I think C.S. Lewis is a very good writer, and he's definitely YA. And admittedly, the problem that lies therein is that the only respected sort of YA authors are going to be ones who are now dead and can't contribute further.
So,
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
How
So
do you
Trailer
feel
came
about
out.
veer to the left.
Oh no, wait,
again.
hang on. I've got it.
Go on.
Speaking of things that are popular in our youth and are now coming back and causing nostalgia, like Bravo 20 or youth adult literature. There you go. It's that idea.
Beautiful. That was
There
a
you
hell
go.
of a segue. Completely natural. Totally
Yeah.
flowing.
Yeah. Shut up.
So yeah, no, I mean, I'm pumped for Star Wars. Playing Battlefront recently really helped with that, and I think the trailer looks pretty good. I think
Oh,
very
yeah.
obviously something's going on with Luke Skywalker, and they've made no attempt to hide that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, they have, but it's not showing anything about him.
I
No, but
reckon it'll
that
be
in
big
itself is
reveal.
obvious. Mhm.
Yeah.
It'll be a big reveal, I think.
Luke
At the end.
Skywalker is secretly a robot.
I hope he's not evil though. I really
No,
hope
I
he's not
was more
evil.
going
I'd be
for the
lazy
thing
as hell.
that Luke Skywalker's the hardest thing to find, and so at the end of the film, because this is a trilogy, the end of this film is only going to be the introduction to the main story, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Oh,
at
yeah.
least one of the three of them will die to pave the way because they've said that they wanted to have like one with this generation, and then they will go into the back as the story takes over.
I am afraid it'll be John Boyega. I'm pretty sure it won't be. I reckon the one that dies will probably be Oscar Isaac.
I think it'll be one of either Hamill, Ford, or Fisher.
Oh, one of the original trilogy ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like I think one of them
Oh.
will die, and then the other two, then like Han and Leia, in my opinion, will fade into the kind of back supporting roles.
Oh no, it'll be Han then, because Harrison Ford hates doing them.
Probably, yeah.
He's like really grumpy and kind of hates being an actor, and it's just like, mate, chill out a bit.
Might be a good transition to keep the balance of old actors and new actors if Han dies, and then Luke takes over that role as kind of like a coordinator.
Yeah. And also, like we've got because Han, what's Han's thing? He's the plucky rogue who's a pilot.
And he's
And
not
we've-
young or plucky anymore, and not really a rogue. He's just an old man, as the trailer.
Well, he's a
probably
war
states.
hero now. I think that's one thing we, you know.
And we have a new plucky young pilot, and it's Oscar Isaac's character.
Also, I didn't realize Brienne of Tarth's in this. Old Gwendolyn Christie.
Oh yeah,
I'm
Captain Phazon or whatever.
Yeah, I am really
Phasma.
excited. I'm really excited for her. I just fucking love Gwendolyn Christie. She's amazing.
Oh, she's great.
The Admiral Snack Bar coming back for this one as well.
I mean, yes, he can. He's CGI, so he's not aged any over the past 30 years.
Well, I'd love it if that was another sort of twist in that Admiral Snack Bar. I was like, yeah, I admit he is Admiral Snack Bar.
No,
Just in
Snack
case
Bar.
you think I'm doing this by mistake, is a cult character in.
Well, he's
like,
in,
the
he's in
original
Battlefront,
trilogy.
isn't he? Still, so I
Yeah.
mean-
What would be good is if he has that one line in like episode 6, and then come the new trilogy, he's a main character, and people are like, shit, Admiral Akbar, he really is important after all. You should listen to him when he says it's a trap, because this guy has just taken down 5 battle cruisers
He's the
himself.
trap guy.
Yeah, it's just a trap, Admiral Akbar.
Well,
No.
I'm pleased
Yes!
to report that some quick googling has shown me that Admiral Akbar is intended to appear in Star Wars: The Force
Hey!
Awakens. So,
Hooray!
I mean, to be fair, again, like he was the general at the battle that destroyed the Emperor. I imagine he's a friggin' hero as well. Like the thing is, like in the Return of the Jedi, everyone does such ridiculous shit that they can't not be like galaxy-wide heroes, which makes it really weird to me that the trailer has like them not too sure what the hell a Jedi is, because it can't have been within.
Yeah.
It can
Well,
only
there
be
was-
within Han's lifetime that this will happen.
But there was only one Jedi, and no one really said he was a Jedi. Like Luke, there was one. His name was
Yeah,
Luke.
but there was a Sith Empire.
Well, they weren't Sith. They were the Galactic Empire.
Yeah, but they knew, like, there was I swear they knew the Sith Lord, or was it only are we assuming only the higher ups knew about the Sith?
Yeah, because you see people openly doubting Vader's ability to choke through across the room while he's in the room.
Yeah. But
And then when he
yes,
does it, they're not like surprised, but they're still a bit like, oh
Yeah.
fuck.
like,
Actually, yeah,
one-
you're right. He calls the Force like an old religion, doesn't he, or something?
Yeah,
You're right.
it's like
I
they
guess
all
there's
know
a lot of
it's-
superstition about it.
Yeah, and also like, how many people in because these like the characters in it are sort of meant to be standard like space peasants.
But even at this point, in that film, it had only been 40 years since there were Jedi everywhere.
That's what I was about to say. Like, I just realized, like, even still, like, there is still like within Chewbacca's lifetime, and within people like that's lifetime, there has been a Jedi Order that spanned the galaxy.
Well, Chewbacca's age is nebulous at best.
But even like other people like Anakin Skywalker, though I guess we have no concept of how. But as in, there are still Jedi's when Luke is born, or they've only just ceased to exist. So it can only have been, like Will said, approximately 40 to 60 years.
Perhaps less. We're
Yeah.
talking more like 30, 35.
Well, it's probably longer than that until Force Awakens.
But still, that's the point, is that this kind of advanced society should be capable of
Recording
writing
this
down-
knowledge.
Well, the thing is, they're
writing
not.
down who the people with the shiny sticks were 60 years ago.
You say like advanced society, but they've got spaceships and laser guns, but that's about it.
It's true.
Like, they've got-
Sometimes it is very Dune-esque, I think. I mean, I
Yeah.
know it's partially based on Dune, but like I think sometimes I feel like the space travel is the most advanced aspect of Star Wars.
And then they sort of they don't have the internet. They don't have all
They
this.
they do have an internet of sorts.
They've
Not
got
really.
intranets, but not
Yeah,
internets.
Yeah, they've got a. I mean, everyone runs on like radio relay, don't they? Really, if you think about it, like
Yeah,
look at I mean, people hail each other on that and stuff
which
like
is
that.
ridiculous. And
People hail each other in Star Trek, though.
Yeah, but that's not internet either. Is it?
that's a ship. That's like
But
an old.
these
That's
are
because it's a
because the
film about ships in
universes were
space.
invented during the middle of the 20th century.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're not going to add an internet in now.
They could do.
And
They
they
could appeal
can't-
to the young folk.
They don't have replicators or anything like that. They're not. They've got space travel and flying. Hovering cars, but they're not. It's not like they've done anything particularly like mad.
It's true, and also actually, another thing that could be quite interesting, to justify against my own point, because the only library we ever see is the Jedi Archive, and the Jedi being destroyed, and the Empire could signal some sort of Dark Age.
Oh yeah, propaganda.
Like I mean, there could be a very real reason that no one remembers the Jedi existing, and that would be really cool. If they bring that up, that's a plus to me, but I bet they won't.
Well, maybe when he says it's true, the Jedi, all of it. Maybe when he says the Jedi, he's referring to Luke. Like it's true.
I was in
The-
singular.
Well, like a
Yeah.
Jedi survived, like
Like,
Anastasia.
He was. Yeah, like the
Oh,
Jedi. It's true.
goodness.
He was there.
Yeah,
know,
no,
that-
that makes more sense.
I get it. I
mean,
get the
there's
impression
there's
that
a
that's a
plethora of
third
reasons.
person, though. To be fair,
Yeah.
I think it's. I mean, sorry, that's a plural comment. I still think he's referring to the Jedi as the Order, because doesn't Oscar Isaac become surprised that he can wield a lightsaber?
I don't know. I haven't seen that bit. Does Oscar Isaac could comment on the lights? All I've seen Oscar Isaac do is be handsome in a Rebel Alliance pilot outfit,
Yeah,
clap
also-
John Boyega on the shoulder, and then scream at the end. So I didn't sound.
Oh, no,
All
hang
he
on, sorry,
does
I
is
might have
just-
got my.
He's you're
Oscar
thinking of
Isaac-
John Boyega.
John
Sorry.
Boyega's the British
Yeah.
black kid.
So yeah,
As
isn't
that.
John Boyega, sorry, still surprised when he goes, "Oh, I can use a lightsaber. I must be a Jedi."
Well, I don't know. He sort of holds it. You just see him use it, and then the emo Darth Vader gets it. Like he just sort of holds it. He's like, "Look at me," and then
One thing I hope they keep from the extended universe / just general common sense is that, and I hope they will from the line at the beginning of one of the teasers that was My Sister Has It, is that because Leia becomes a pretty good Jedi, and I think that would be cool. I know Carrie Fisher doesn't look like she could probably fight at this point, but I think if she
just
had
do a
a nice
Yoda.
career as a Jedi Master, that would be cool.
Well, because the original idea of the Force before the prequels was that like the whole point of Yoda was that he's not a great physical warrior. but the Force is something else. So if they're going back to that idea, like she's really strong with the Force, and hence she's a really talented diplomat or something, or
Yeah.
just like people person, like true, like she uses the Force that way. That
Yeah,
could
I
be
mean,
good.
I mean, her father was a senator. It could easily, I
Yeah,
think it would be
easy
good.
peasy. She just Jedi mind tricks her way to political power, which makes her a bit evil, but whatever. For the
Yeah,
greater
I mean, I'm
good.
looking forward to it. It's got, it could be great. Again, J.J. Abrams is doing it, so I don't
Lots
know.
of lens flare awaits.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't.
it'll be visually beautiful. That'll be his thing.
Yeah.
I
Because
said
he
So,
Michael
does.
Bay should have done it.
Boom.
No, the Coen brothers. The Coen brothers
Wes
should have done
Anderson? Wes Anderson had it in the bag. We all saw that trailer.
I'm just trying to imagine a Coen brothers version of Star Wars.
I'd
What, with, like
imagine like
weird
the
folk
death,
music.
like imagine like Miller's Crossing on Tatooine, like he's walking out into the desert. He's like, no, you can't do this.
I was imagining, oh brother, where art thou? We're having a little sing song. I think I like that. Also, it's weird when you think, just from a financial standpoint, while we're all going, oh yeah, the original trilogy finally. For a lot of people of this sort of going to go and see it, they wouldn't have seen the original trilogy. The new trilogy is like their touch point, their reference point.
True,
Because the
but
original trilogy, what is that? There's the films, and then George Lucas's many remasters, and then those EU books and some games.
Mm.
How much shit was there generated for the prequels?
it's true. There's so much
Clone
prequel
Wars
material.
cartoons, CGI cartoons,
But
the
Star
films,
Wars,
spin-offs.
Star Wars
Like,
is passed down. Like my dad made an effort to make me watch episodes 4, 5, and 6 before I ever saw 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
my cousin showed me Star Wars.
but equally, there hasn't been like what new generation like because yeah, we were shown Star Wars, but the people below us wouldn't have been shown Star Wars because
No,
by who?
I think you're because think of the
By who?
demographics. Like the people who have young kids now are the people who saw Star Wars when they were young. Like I would think
Yeah.
I know a guy who's at my work. He's 40 and his kid's 7. And he's shown him the original trilogy and not the
That's
prequel
what I mean.
trilogy.
Star Wars is so iconic and so loved. I think people would actually feel obliged or just want to hand it down, and so
Yeah.
that's how
Also,
people will familiarize themselves.
it's a good
with...
excuse to watch them again.
Exactly.
I mean, I bet you DVD sales are gonna jump like a bitch for Star
Of course
Wars.
they are. You know they're going to release like an 80 quid DVD box set the day before it comes out, and people are going to suck that motherfucker up.
Definitely.
So
I'm
they
so
respect
glad
it.
I didn't buy the Sextology, the enhanced Blu-ray one with the
I
nice
almost
artwork.
wish we'd watched the James Bond films before I watched Spectre. I would have even Quantum. I would have gladly watched the 3 of them.
Problem is, there's so many of them.
No, is it not all of them? I mean,
This is
like the
Daniel
Daniel,
Craig.
the Craig ones. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to watch Octopussy for the context on Spectre.
Like I think I will probably because it's coming out in December, right? I'll probably watch the Star Wars films because I watched Empire Strikes Back recently.
I'll
Yeah.
play KOTOR.
I'll be the edgy one and watch the Clone Wars,
Ooh.
Let's do
which
it.
has
We'll
Admiral
report
Akbar in
back.
it. So I've just learned.
I'll reread Skippy the droid.
Oh, Skippy the droid.
I feel like he
time to get
deserves a
Skippy the
mention
droid.
in this discussion, in that Skippy is a critical part of this entire series being
Well,
established.
I mean, you do also wonder because if they got rid of the EUs, how much of their marketing for the film will be based on Battlefront? Because a lot of people are going to be getting Battlefront, hoping that there'll be something from the new film in it.
Well, there's the DLC that's coming, isn't there? Like we know they're releasing DLC after the film's out with the fights from the film in it.
Which is going to be, that's going
Yeah,
to
you're
put
right.
things
If
through
there's
the
any
roof.
hints, if there's any hints afterwards, then that would be interesting.
One thing I would like to clear up, and I'm hoping you two have more knowledge of it, because I kind of kept myself off Star Wars in preparation for the film, is the end of Return of the Jedi, second Death Star destroyed, lots of the Galactic Empire beaten. Basically, we would assume that faction is near bankruptcy. How did it still become a superpower again by Episode 7?
Well, it's not necessarily a superpower because you never see you see one group of stormtroopers, but there don't appear to be very many of them.
I think
Like there's two TIE fighters chasing the Falcon.
what happens in the EU is that because the Empire's economic base is gone, sure, because it loses control of the planets, but it still has an incredibly large Imperial fleet that essentially become pirates, kind of like warlord pirates for like 30 years after the Empire is destroyed. I can only assume because we know that the main bad guy is some sort of Sith fanatic. Like he's not an actual Sith, but he's like a kind of obsessed with them.
He's a Sithaboo.
Yeah, exactly. I can only assume that he's like some sort of former Imperial officer using what little kind of prestige and holdout they have left to do it. Because like that's how Battlefront 2 ends. Remember when the Empire is destroyed, the 501st do like one last Imperial holdout mission. Like there's loads of different. Like it's very core. I think it's core to the Star Wars mythos, and I'd be annoyed if they removed it. That the stormtroopers remain devoutly loyal to the Empire way after its death.
I mean, how long did it take the British Empire to fall? Even after it takes a while for things like that to fall apart.
Well, I
Yeah.
generally think after India went, that was pretty much the last death knell of the British
It still
Empire.
took a while.
I mean, yeah, it takes. I mean,
but-
especially considering the Empire appears to be run fairly kind of modularly. Like,
bureaucratically.
I liked the metaphor, but after the fall of India or the independence of India, you didn't have roaming bands of British soldiers fanatically loyal to the Raj.
Well, they joined a lot of PMCs. South Africa probably had like a few ex-British SAS soldiers in it.
It's
yeah,
true.
I feel we're getting away from the point slightly.
It's getting a bit Metal Gear. Yeah. Well, no, because
But yeah, I mean, I think there's plenty of scope for action as to why the Stormtroopers are still around. I mean, essentially they're always
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be Imperial loyalists, even 30 years after the fact.
and there's no reason to assume just because the Death Star was what their super weapon, their planet killer. Sure, that's impressive, but at the same time, we saw the Empire be incredibly powerful in the first one, and they only just finished it.
Mm.
So just because they like lost their second one doesn't mean that that's it. There's
The Empire hadn't had any major conflict really with the rebellion at that point, though, because the rebellion was completely disorganized. It hadn't had a focal point that it was unifying around.
Well, even after the Death Star is destroyed, like there's still a big, there's still a liberation of many, many thousands of planets to undergo. Like it was a victory, but it wasn't the end of the war.
No, it's it's a boondoggle. It's it's like building a giant gold statue of Darth Vader on somewhere. Like you can smash the
What?
stat. Well, it's basically just a display of the Empire's power. It's not
It
necessarily
was also a
particularly
pretty
important.
powerful weapon, and
Yeah,
it's
but
a
they
base of
imply that
operations.
they vaguely
Yeah.
imply that you could blow up a planet with a fleet of starships.
Well, you could glass it. They've done that before. I
That
mean, it's
happened
essentially
in
just a
KOTOR,
more,
yeah.
it's essentially just a more, effective way of doing that. That's
And then
another
you
thing
don't-
actually. To bring up KOTOR, like I think one of the things with Star Wars that we've seen is that over thousands of years, the same themes repeat itself. Like the same kind of armor types, the same things appear. So I don't think it's that big a stretch that 30 years after the fact, people would still be knocking around in Stormtrooper armor.
No,
And we've already been
suppose.
shown they're not clones of Jango Fett, so I
But
mean
considering
that's
the Jedi Order was almost destroyed at the end of KOTOR, and yet it came back almost immediately in KOTOR 2, or like after 10 years, it doesn't make any sense why they would forget the Jedi if that is the case in Episode 7.
maybe Darth Sidious was way better at his job than Darth Raven.
yeah,
True,
because in the original ones they're sort of like, oh, the Jedi, that old horse shit
Also, well, you're quoting extended universe canon that doesn't exist anymore. So
doesn't exist anymore.
Are you telling me that KOTOR isn't considered proper
No,
canon
it's not
now?
considered canon anymore.
When did that happen?
When Disney bought
Disney
it,
bought
they said
it.
the only
Oh, I
six
see,
things
yeah.
that are canon are the EU, are the film, sorry, and the comics we will publish hereafter.
Well, but what? So Skippy the Jedi isn't.
Theoretically, no, he is
Oh,
not anymore.
I
But
resent
I mean, then
this.
again, Skippy's in the films, so I figure that he is.
Canon.
Yeah.
But then he's never shown to have any Jedi powers in
But
the
he does do
film.
exactly what is described with his Jedi powers in the film.
As an empiricist, I'm still skeptical about that, but
I
I
take Skippy
resent
as
this.
canon.
I consider most published Star Wars EU to be canon, regardless of what Disney says. I think it has to be decided
I think
by the
they're
people who
working on
enjoy
it
it.
like a if we contradict it, we don't care kind of basis. Like you can, and things like Chewbacca's death. I mean, that's clearly not going to be true anymore because he's alive. And
Okay,
things like
yeah, so
that.
contradictions will be considered non-canon then.
Yeah, anything that the films directly contradict, I guess.
So what? It'll now take the films to say, well, 4,000 years ago, actually the Jedi were evil, and then people just go, KOTOR, you disgust me.
And I think what's going to happen is Mark Hamill's going to look at the camera and go, "Will, KOTOR's lore wasn't that great."
It's gonna
the
be
best story in the Star Wars saga.
halfway through. There's gonna be a bit where they're in a meeting, and they're all gonna go, we need to sort this out right now. And then J.J. Abrams is gonna walk into shot, and they're all gonna sit and turn and go, Will, it's done, mate.
let it go.
I'm not
It's
willing to
done.
let it go. They've just released a new expansion pack for the Old Republic that deals even more on the interminable conflict between
Well,
the
That's
Jedi
what,
and the
that's what he's
Sith.
going to do. He's just going to get a copy of like the KOTOR disc and just snap it, and then the film will resolve as normal.
And he's gonna go, watch it, yeah. And then they're gonna walk off, and there's gonna be more fucking excellent nostalgia noises coming out of X-wings. That whap, it's the whap 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 whap
Oh,
whap.
the
So
The
really,
blaster
what we're
cannons.
seeing is J.J. Abrams and Disney actually destroying lots of what made Star Wars good and only keeping in what made it appeal to us as children.
No, not even though, because like Alex pointed out in the past, like quite a lot of the EU is just pretty terrible fan fiction. Like some of it's good, there are some diamonds in the rough, but vast
Isn't there-
waves of it are terrible.
Yeah, like extra dimensional aliens that attack, and then Luke's and Leia's kids have got a not Luke and Leia's kids, but Han and Leia's like Luke's kids and Leia's kids. They're like, it's just guff. It's guff. You don't need it.
But if you look at a lot of video games, KOTOR aside, there are some very good stories lying within the EU, like
Yeah, but
Evil
how does-
Alliance.
But
True,
how
but
does
there's
that have?
also- There's also
how does
some
that have any
terrible
bearing
ones,
on-
like Jedi Starfighter and Battle for Naboo.
But why does that have any bearing on the
Don't
films
exist,
either?
Battle for Naboo.
Like,
I
they're,
love
like, they're
fighting
not going to
Naboo
put a
Starfighter.
fucking.
Yeah, well, what I think they did want to do was spend £4 billion on Star Wars and then have to be beholden to the plot that some drunk nerd from New Mexico came up with 30 years ago.
Like,
And that's fair enough.
there wasn't going to be a reference to Naboo Starfighter in like the
Yeah.
Force Awakens anyway. So what does it matter? Like, you could still happen, and you say it made Star Wars good, but it wasn't going to bit where Han would go, "Gosh, here's this Naboo Starfighter
My
character
uncle at the Battle of Naboo.
of Naboo," or I've heard that those Republic Commandos were always very good, and
Come on, now that was
he
a good
presses
story.
E
You
on a
can't
door.
deny that. Republic Commando had a great story.
What? We are the Republic Commandos.
No, it's an interesting take on the clones as a faction.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
And also, I know you can rib KOTOR as much as you want, but KOTOR
Good.
introduced some things that were quite critical, like the Mandalorian Wars
Yeah, no, I like the Mandalorian lore.
and the
I think
original
it's-
Republic and its fracturing and how it's rebuilt since then
Yeah,
into
and
the
I'm
Galactic
sure,
Republic.
and if it's good, they'll use it, I'm sure. But if it's not, then they have every right to dispose of it.
I'll be there with my 2 cases. One KOTOR, one KOTOR 2 The Sith Lords. I'll turn up to the cinema come December and be like, well, it's got a high benchmark to beat, I'm afraid.
But equally so, but there'll be a bit, right? Like in the trailer when in one of the first teaser ones, all this stupid like tense stuff, and then it's just the Falcon doing that fucking wicked loop with
Oh,
like
yes.
Abrams' camera, and then you immediately forget anything else. You're just like ah. And then the new ones where it has the X-wings going over the water, and it has the noise as the wings open up, and the music starts as they're running around, and you just forget everything. You just go, "Oh my god,
Well, I
Star
know
Wars!"
what I'm wearing on my t-shirt when I go to see the film, and that is Ebon Hawk Morvan Millennium Falcon.
And the score will start, and there'll be TIE fighter screeches, and the whap 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 of the X fighter gun of the X-wing guns, and you'll just forget everything. It's like I don't care.
You
Star
know,
Wars is back, hooray!
You know what shirt I'm wearing? I'm gonna wear one with Star Wars Super Bombad Racing on it. And I'm gonna be like, if
Look.
this is not integral to the canon, then I am leaving this film.
Episode 1 happened to release at a time when video games were made more en masse but didn't have the technology to be good.
Kart races. Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of kart races.
By the time of episode 2, you had the early 2000s, which was a good golden age for video games.
No, I agree. I mean, I even think the Revenge of the Sith game is pretty good.
It is. And the Clone Wars game was good as well.
Are we just forgetting Lego Star Wars deliberately, or
No, Lego Star Wars is great.
Lego Star Wars is
Yeah,
good?
it's fun, yeah.
Uh,
And
The
I'm
Battlefront.
waiting for my Lego KOTOR as well.
No,
when
good luck,
when
mate.
it arrives.
Waiting a long time.
Build the vaccine for that plague for some reason.
Oh,
using
come
the...
on, you're just ignoring the overarching story in the world. KOTOR is brilliant. Like the story about Korriban and the Sith Academy and how it falls.
No, it's
My
good. I
blood
like
pressure is
KOTOR.
dropping.
It's
I
fine.
don't.
I feel like you two would spit on a copy of KOTOR if you saw it in
No,
a
no, I
shop.
like KOTOR. I own KOTOR. I've played many hours of KOTOR.
I hate KOTOR because every time I got to the second planet, my save files would always corrupt and I couldn't progress. So I've decided the game's shit. Not shitting you. I got it on the original Xbox when I was in secondary school, and I got to the bit where you first meet the Jedi. I was like, oh, cool, I'll save this and I'll play it tomorrow. Save file corrupted. Did it a couple more times, save files corrupted. Got it on my fucking computer, same thing happened. I left, what was the first planet called? The shit tutorial of planet.
Just
the-
KOTOR
with-
1 or KOTOR 2?
KOTOR 1 with a really lame undercity bit with those weird ghouls, and I just couldn't stand it.
Oh, Talos.
Talos,
Talos.
yeah. I'd get
Talos,
off.
yeah.
I'd get off that planet. I'd get to the second one, Deriban, Dorador.
Dorishire.
I don't know. Dorishire, the one where the Jedi live,
Oh,
and where the game first, like you get your lightsaber
Dantooine.
and stuff. Yeah, Dan. There you go, Dantooine. Derbyshire. I
Yeah,
know.
no, Dantooine level. KOTOR, I've always said KOTOR 2 was the better one, to be fair.
And I'd get to Dantooine, and my save file would corrupt, and I couldn't play anymore. And so
That's
the
your
game's
fault. Get a
It's not
better
my fault.
computer.
game's rubbish. Game doesn't
That's
work.
not on
rubbish.
Xbox. The game's fine.
Game's rubbish. Everyone don't like it. Why are there
onto
swords?
something I
Why
think
does
we
everyone
both
use
agree
swords?
about Fallout 4, just before you go to KOTOR War.
Oh, I suppose yeah, Star Wars Battlefront would be good, and then
Oh, yeah.
obviously because Star Wars Battlefront while might be a bit empty, everyone's gonna play it anyway. It's gonna be like Destiny when Destiny came out. I was like, this game's shit. What are you playing? Destiny.
Destiny.
And everyone's going, oh, this game's shit because of EA. What have you been playing for the last 24 hours straight? Star Wars Battlefront.
Yeah.
Because it's got the noises and you can go in the cockpits and I am a TIE fighter. Yeah.
It's like what? It's like, oh, I hate Star Wars Battlefront. What level are you? Oh, 270.
Yeah, and you'll be coming off that from what is the November of game, Fallout 4, which is going to be mental.
I still don't know which one I'm gonna buy first.
Well, Fallout 4 comes out first, so
Oh well, no competition there.
shit. Fallout 4 comes out in like 9 days.
Is that gonna be the last I see of you for a while?
10th of November, my friends.
Oh god. Yeah, no, I'm really excited for Fallout 4. I really annoys me though, because whenever I bring it up recently around people who don't really know games, they keep calling it Bioshock. Well,
Who?
they keep thinking it's Bioshock.
What?
Just
No.
people at work and stuff. And like, I
They
showed
can-
someone a picture of Fallout Boy.
A picture. Do you mean
What's he
Vault,
called?
Vault Boy.
Vault Boy. um,
We've heard a picture of Fallout Boy. What is
yeah,
Patrick Stump doing that testicle
yeah.
face
I
thing?
showed them a picture of Pete Wentz and they
Pete
didn't get what I was
Wentz.
talking about.
Picture
I
of
was
Pete
like,
Wentz's
oh, God
dick.
damn it. But yeah, no, I showed them a picture of Vault Boy, and they're like, oh, isn't he the mascot from Bioshock? I was like, what?
No, not at all. Very different
I
games.
have genuine concerns about Fallout, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore Fallout. I bought the first one back in 2001 for my Windows 98 computer,
Wow.
which wasn't powerful enough to run it, I'm afraid.
Excellent.
And I love it, but everything I've watched and read about Fallout 4 just doesn't fill me with the same level of hype I felt back in 2008.
For
Fallout
Fallout
3.
3.
I guess maybe it's because we've played a Fallout because you've played Fallout 3 in New Vegas, and we kind of know what they're going to be like. We kind of know
Yeah.
what Fallout 4 is going to be like now.
I won't lie, seeing the trailer made me less excited because it looked so similar. But equally, I'm
Oh,
still
it made me.
excited.
I'll
Yeah,
get it, because I want a time sink, and whilst I did really enjoy the Battlefront beta, it wasn't different enough to put me off already having Destiny and Battlefield 4, so I will get Fallout 4 first, I think.
I'm looking forward to it because there appears to be a part, like judging from the some of the artwork I've seen, there appears to be a part where you visit a Battle of Bunker Hill Memorial Museum that's been bombed out, and so I'm looking
Nice.
forward to some British propaganda.
because I'm just thinking about Fallout 4 is that there are. I mean, obviously, it's going to come out and we're going to go, oh shit, but it's not. Like,
No,
it's just...
I won't ever call it shit, because I don't think Fallout can be. I think Fallout is like the
What about
comparison
Fallout?
between sex and pizza.
What about
They'd
Fallout
have-
Brotherhood of Steel?
They'd
But
have to change it so
still
radically
Fallout.
for
What was that
it to be
Fall-
bad.
What was that Fallout game that was like a like nearly top-down through third-person like
RPG,
brawler?
Brotherhood of Steel, yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, but it's still Fallout, so it's still better than bad.
I don't know. I played Baldur's Gate 2: Dark Alliance. That was pretty good. That was that's
I
pretty
like
good.
Dark Alliance.
Yeah, no, because Fallout 4, I think it's interesting that they've chosen Boston because outside of America, I don't think anyone knows anything about Boston.
No, but
I
it's
only
a
know anything
Commonwealth,
about
isn't
Boston
it?
from watching The Departed, as I think I've said
Exactly.
before.
Yeah, like I only know it from The Departed, so we're like, oh look, the lift where Leonardo DiCaprio got shot.
Yeah.
Or
Because I mean, like I said, I know there was some Civil War stuff. There's some American Revolutionary War stuff there. Like obviously they dunked the tea in the harbor or whatever.
oh, do you mean the great betrayal?
Yeah.
I
But other than
expect that'll
that,
be
I
a
just know
big,
that it's full of Irish people.
Yeah, because they never really mentioned Britain or in Fallout at all.
No, I'm
It's
hoping
always
they will this time. I'm hoping there will be something to do.
because Tenpenny in Fallout 3 is English. That's about it. He just says he came from England to America.
Presumably, it stayed in the vault until he left again.
No, he said I think Tenpenny's character is meant to have survived in England post-war and then came to America at some point,
Oh.
which makes
Okay.
some interesting ideas, perhaps.
Yeah.
But
I didn't
perhaps
know
they
that.
will mention Britain a bit.
That would be cool. I'd be fine with that. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's not. I think like Fallout 3 was East Coast enough. I wouldn't have even mind something in like
East Coast.
kind of the like maybe the North, Michigan, something like that, just something new, or the Deep South. That'd have been cool. I'd like
Well,
that.
They
Imagine
did.
a
They
deep.
had DLC in the Deep South.
Did they? What was it? Oh yeah, the Alabama
Uh,
thing.
Yeah, what was it called? I'll look it up.
Lonesome Road.
No, it was a Fallout 3 DLC. It
Oh,
was
the pits.
no, that was Pittsburgh. It was hang on, I'll look it up. It was you'd go to a swamp and there were
That's
mutants.
right. Yeah.
That, yeah,
yeah,
the,
like I
the
wouldn't.
pit was the Pittsburgh one. Hang on, I'll look it up. But yeah, because that was really good. That was a really good DLC. I'm just hoping that there'll be more of it.
Well,
Downloadable content.
Bethesda tends
Point lookout. There you
Well,
go.
look at Bethesda for an Elder Scrolls game. Bethesda always release 2 DLCs, and for a Fallout game, they'll release 5.
Which is an interesting set of numbers, I guess.
Well, Morrowind had 2, Oblivion had 2, Skyrim had 2, Fallout 3 had 5, and New Vegas had 5. Spooky spooks.
Spooky spooks.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hopefully good. Probably more of the same, but hopefully just good the same.
The
Because-
graphics threw me the least. The lighting is superb, but I
Oh,
was generally a
the-
bit put off by
yeah.
the graphics. It looks a bit cartoonish almost.
Interesting
I
fact. I've just been researching England's role in Fallout, and apparently the man who's made as the lead designer on Fallout New Vegas, J. Sawyer, has always wanted to make a game set during the Resource Wars, the 2050s Euro Middle Eastern conflict,
Sweet.
and he wanted it set primarily in Britain, and to be part of members of the British task forces in the Resource Wars.
Nice.
But he's never got the support to make it because I guess it wouldn't be a traditional Fallout game because it would essentially be a war game.
And with like 50s England wasn't there particularly as much cultural impact.
No.
Unless you
I
want
don't
to unless it just be teddy boys posing in bombed out buildings.
Which we already had with the Elvis Presley.
Exactly, you don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I think the cartoonish thing comes from that weird vault suit, which apparently just looks weird. I've seen because when it first came out, the graphics looked terrible because the vault suit looks so shit. But actually, in motion, it just looks a bit odd, like this weird sort of skin tight, strange material. But equally, that's what it looked like in the older games and like the isometric ones. There's only in Fallout
Partly,
3 where they were made out of like an actual what looked like cloth.
hmm. Part of me appreciates the fact that there's the introductory prologue is before the war, and I always think that's always something I'd like to see the transition for. When in 2077, where this war is declared, it would sort of be kind of unique,
Yeah.
novel. Not many people have really dealt with it, apart from the Time Machine as a film.
It does seem a bit. It just seems. I mean, the thing is, the pre-war stuff does look very short, and it's just mainly appears to just be, everything a bit neatened up. But yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose it's starting there would be interesting. But I think also it makes a very good reason why your character has no idea where he is.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas I
Do you play a
suppose
descendant of the character you create in the beginning?
no, same one, I think.
Oh, that's
You're frozen in
200
time or
years.
something, aren't you?
Oh,
I
okay.
think. I
Yeah,
can't remember.
they haven't said why, but it's probably he probably gets cryogenically
Yeah.
frozen
Oh,
or something.
some Futurama shit happens, I'd wager.
Yeah, basically, and he wakes up on New Year's Eve. It all goes wrong. I see
I'm still not
Wiener.
sure whether I'm gonna buy it first day because I mean I don't know if I've told you, but I still kind of want to buy Until Dawn at the moment, and that's 40 quid.
But yeah, like Fallout 4's base building thing looks nuts.
Basically Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, well, even better because you can make a weird little
I hope you get Fultons.
forwards. Yeah.
You attach them to super mutants. Like,
Right.
Well, I mean base building's in vogue at the moment, isn't it? So it's not too bad. Between all the kind of freemium games and Metal Gear, I guess it's fine. I think it will add to the game. I don't think it'll detract from it. I'll be annoyed if they put all the freemium stuff in it to do with it, like speed up the building of your base.
Well, if it's fine to stay in there because the thing's completely optional. So if it wants to stay over there, it can because nothing.
I don't know.
Well, it's just like because
I
the only concern I have with it is
Go
that it would like just suck up a lot of time, and like because obviously when you watch it in
Yeah.
action, they sort of break down a tire and get that many rubber back, and it's also a bit like in Metal Gear. I'm worried that perhaps building a base to get the best items, which is what they've said you need to do, the best items come from vendors inside the bases, will require so many resources that
that is true. It could
it's a
be a
slog.
very convoluted experience, and that is
Yeah.
a threat. And I don't want to disparage Bethesda because I do like the company as a whole, but it's not unbelievable to see them putting that in there to increase gameplay time because that's what people expect from them now.
Yeah, long games.
I just don't know. I think anything that uses like kind of artificial dampening, like if it's like, oh, this base will take 15 minutes or this building will take 15 minutes to build, you can have it now. That kind of thing's toxic in video games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I can't imagine that being a thing.
It's more of a Konami thing, and Konami didn't even do it that much, so perhaps
Pachinko
let's hope,
machines. Yeah, because
It's what the whole world.
they're a pachinko company that happens to make video games. No, I think Fallout will probably be fairly free of that. That's because I mean they do also have like a captive audience. So like, do you remember when he announced his E3 thing? He could have gone up on stage and said, "I am resurrecting Hitler, and I will shit in your mouths," and everyone would have gone, "Woo, Todd
It's true.
Howard!" Like he could say anything up there.
But Todd Howard's such an inspiring leader for a video game company.
What, this weird little nerd?
Well, yeah, compared to like Peter Molyneux and like the money grabbers at EA, I mean,
Yeah.
the only person who competes with him is really Gabe Newell.
He's no
People like-
Cliffy.
And CD Projekt's chap. as
People
well.
don't like, yeah, but we don't even know his name yet. We just like CD Projekt because they seem to be a not shitlord company.
He's no Cliffy B.
Cliffy B.
True.
I mean, I think like this November we'll kind of illustrate what like whether the new rung of AAA games, because like Ubisoft's been doing it a lot more recently, as we've seen. Like Unity had those hack points you could buy to get stuff quicker, and like I'm sure Syndicate will probably have some remnant of that in it.
It
though
does.
I know it was, yeah.
You can buy in-game pounds with real pounds, which I think is it's fantastic,
the
isn't it?
sound of that is such a stupid fucking
That works
idea.
better for Americans, I reckon. Like, look, we're exchanging into this mythical currency, the pound.
We're exchanging into Hobbit coins, and I kind of hope they've kept the the exchange rate correct, so that £1 is equal to how many pounds it would have been. But I don't think they have. And there are the Helix points again, I think, in Syndicate, which they'll also be in Battlefront because EA's on it.
Oh yeah, see, I'm skeptical about Battlefront as well.
I'm
Yeah,
only
it's true. You were.
from what I've played, I'm only skeptical about because obviously we were all playing games during the very big EA is the ultimate enemy era. So we're all inherently skeptical of any EA game, which I don't think is a necessarily bad thing.
I mean, I think that the like, because EA have said time and time again that they don't wish to be voted the most evil company every year, and yet they seem to make no effort to stop it. So
Yeah,
I'm skeptical. I'm annoyed that it's EA, but I mean, no other company probably has the resources to bring us something that looks that good. So
no, that's the thing. Is they keep going, oh, we don't want to be the most evil company. It costs only nearly £100 to buy the full version of Star Wars Battlefront.
yeah,
Like there was a fucking version of Battlefront Hardline that was like £150. It was insane. It was a huge amount of money for just like a season pass, some map packs, and some of those extra like weapon crates. It was outrageous. Like just how much money it costs, and also when you think of what they're going to add in, because with
Yes.
Battlefront, like we saw in the beta, you saw all the maps on the screens. Like you didn't
Yeah.
play them, but you could see where they were.
Hmm.
And there was like, and if it was literally one map a game mode, which is how they seem to have built it round, there weren't that many.
No, not really. I mean, I don't. I honestly don't know how long it would hold my attention if that's the case. I don't
I
believe
have-
it is though.
In that trailer, though, I did see Walker Assault being done on Sullust.
No, see, there you
True.
go. Yeah, I just seemed so unlikely to me that they would make it one per
But
map,
then again,
map
I
planet.
can see map packs being very expensive and released sequentially every month and a half.
Well, I was about to say there's already like 4 different planned DLCs. Then that's not including the planned DLC for the film's release, for like which is going to be about the, episode 7.
Not that.
Yeah. That one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
but
I'm
then
just a
equally,
bit.
like I think go back to how happy I was when I heard the music and heard the blasters and stuff, and it all seems worthwhile. So.
Yeah, I remember in the beta, I was sort of I played that the escape pod mode first. And I was like, yeah, it's okay. And then then I played a game where I played as a TIE fighter and went in the cockpit and it was going, and when you fired the gun, it had that noise afterwards.
Yeah,
And
it was. I mean, I think
yeah,
as a beta, like as a hype machine, it was pretty good at what it did, but it did leave some questions unanswered.
because you unlock the guns, and I assume there's going to be more weapons in the actual game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like they've already confirmed that.
Yeah, I mean, I think talking about this is now made me all skeptical. I'm still going to get it. Like,
Yeah, of course.
like
Oh
I
yes.
know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to buy the game like day one, play it all day, and then I'm going to go and watch Star Wars: The Force Awakens, when it comes out, and then go home and play Battlefront till 5 in the morning. Like, I know.
Oh yeah, like a responsible adult.
Yeah, that's
I
what's
might
going to
book off some
happen.
holiday for that actually.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. That's what's going to happen. There's no point pretending it won't.
Hmm.
I think
And
Battlefront will be fine
that's what
because
Disney was banking on when
yeah,
they spent
because
that 4 billion.
Battlefront is going to be if it might not be the world, it might not be the game changer everyone wants it to be, but it'll probably be fairly decent.
Yeah, it'll be
And
good and fun.
at least, yeah, it'll be playable at least because Dice made it and it will sound great. We know it sounds great and we know it looks good.
Yeah.
The only thing left is to see how much content they will sacrifice on the altar of DLC, which
I
hopefully isn't much, but
yeah, I mean, I don't really mind how much how much there is sacrificed, as long as like what I get on release day is like a complete experience. Like I don't, as long as the rest of it's just like, oh, you can get a new planet or whatever, that's
yeah,
fine. Whatever, I'll live. And the game's that good, then I'll get the new planet. Why, cool.
yeah. But it's equally when you compare it to Fallout 4, which will probably be, a big game just by itself, and in addition, because they've got a season pass, but they don't know what they're going to put in the season pass yet.
Right.
That might be a good thing.
Yeah,
It also suggests that what they're going to release is a finished game and that they are actually just thinking of new expansion
exactly.
ideas.
Like it's not like
Yeah.
they chopped, it's not like they made something and I was like, that's really good. Put that behind the closed doors.
Destiny.
Like, yeah.
Um,
Well, no,
But,
to be fair, like as we learned about Destiny recently, it turns out that they just had a complete game. They were like, no, you need to build another one, but you have to use all the same assets because that guy's emo fringe cost us several million.
yeah.
But
Which
I was
Fallout.
saying about the thing about Battlefront is that the complete experience, like none of the sort of like freemium stuff, but the complete experience of all the maps and all of the sort of expansions will come to £80.
Jesus.
Which is
So
a lot of
much.
money.
Mm.
But then
yeah,
equally,
the Fallout experience will probably come to like 60, and then it'll total at about 300 hours. So
yeah, there's
No, Fallout's definitely going to be a better investment in my opinion.
but equally Fallout doesn't have multiplayer. Like, because I get a lot of hours of multiplayer, just playing with people that I know. Like, because Battlefront beta was kind of bollocks on your own. I'm not gonna lie, but it was because it's a Battlefield game. Well, it wasn't, as will no doubt have a little essay about. Well, no, because it didn't have a lot of things in it. But equally, by its own, it wasn't hugely fun. It was mainly fun when you got 2 or 3 other people in it. You couldn't matchmake because it was broken, but you could at least all sort of have similar experiences at once.
yeah, we could share what was happening in games that were the same but were different.
Yeah, because we couldn't
That's
quite
the best
manage
way
to
I can explain it.
couldn't quite all get in the same game for some reason.
I'm
Yeah,
not
I
impressed.
was-
That came out in early October, and the release is mid-November, and they still got horrendous matchmaking issues.
Well, I mean, the beta went now, hasn't it? So we've got no idea. I assume they fixed it.
Well,
To be fair,
it was-
that is also what betas are for.
Yeah, it was for bugs. And to be fair, it was surprisingly bug-free what we've shown. But then I think
EA's
I think it's
apart
pretty
from
bad
the
to give us a
matchmaking.
beta and then show us just the most polished versions of the game you've got, because that's slightly disingenuous.
Yeah, exactly. That is the beta, and they showed 2 game
It was a
modes
demo,
out
really. It was
of
a
6.
hype-based
Yeah,
demo
and
disguised as
also I can draw people's attention back to the last EA multiplayer game flagship, which is Battlefield 4. That was released awfully. It was buggy and shit, and this is Battlefield we're talking about, which has a massive fan base, and they couldn't
bigger
even
than
release
Star
that properly.
Wars.
In terms of multiplayer console gaming, I would say the people who bought Battlefield will probably still work out on a similar rate to people who buy the front.
I mean, I'm so divorced from the Battlefield scene. Sorry, I've got no idea, but I'll take your word for it.
What I'm saying is it was a AAA release done by EA and DICE, and
Yeah,
it did not work out
but I
very well.
suppose there's more crossover between people who play Battlefield and Battlefront than people who play like when you a Battlefront game will draw in Battlefield fans, whereas a Battlefield game will not necessarily draw in Star Wars fans.
Hell no, it won't.
Not necessarily. Whereas I think there's a lot because you can see how much of Battlefront is based on it looks and sounds like Star Wars, and it really does, and that's really cool. But at the same time, eventually that will wear off, and we'll go, yeah, you've put a lot of effort into the sound design. Why do I
Yeah.
only have 3 guns, and why does it cost
And
me £5 to buy another one?
And the set design and stuff was really good, but yeah, again, it was all quite flary, I suppose.
Yeah, it relies a lot on lighting, and as we know, that is not necessarily the best sign of a designed set piece.
Well, I think those games haven't been able to do lighting, like for so long. Lighting in games was, well, time splitters choose what color you want this particular room to be, and so now that they can do proper lighting and they can sort of fiddle about with it and make it more like heavily stylized. They're
Well,
just gonna,
I'm
of course, they're
telling
gonna
you
do
now
that because it's more
that
fun.
Fallout 4, if you can only buy one game in November, I would still say buy Fallout 4 and get Battlefront for
User in your
Christmas.
channel timed out.
Oh, there goes
User
Aaron again.
entered your channel.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's back.
Time and space.
So yes, if you can
Yeah,
only
I-
buy one game in November, buy Fallout 4. It won't
Yeah.
be it won't be as
Unless-
buggy, and it's still an RPG.
Unless you've got a big group of friends who really, really like Star Wars, then get that because you'll be playing that anyway. But generally,
Yeah.
Fallout 4, I'd say, yeah. Also, it comes out in less than a week, so if I can get it.
Unless you've already bought Syndicate and you're too busy having a great time with that.
Unless you're in
Step by step.
Syndicate and too busy buying pounds with your pounds.
Feel free to let us know how good the multiplayer element is in Syndicate, if you wish.
I
Ha
will-
ha
I-
ha 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 ha.
I
No
was
joke
about
is
to
there's none.
respond.
Well, I suppose you play 2 characters. That's kind of multiplayer.
It's true.
Straight out of your wallet.
You play Oliver Twist and female
woman.
Sherlock Holmes. Black Ops 3 is coming out. Anyone have any interest whatsoever?
I'm gonna have to go for a no there.
Pull Black Ops.
And I
It
love
was the-
Black Ops as well, but
I
I just don't care
know.
anymore.
It was the only it was the one after we had we
Yeah.
had Call of Duty 2 really good, Modern Warfare it's a revelation.
Good.
Then we got bored of that, and then Black Ops came out and we're like, oh, it's a sort of a new one. There's like weird tech and it's a bit set in the 60s, and now no one
Black
gives a
Ops is
shit.
consistently good, but that's not enough anymore.
No, because I remember playing the beta and I was like, for the first I'd say half an hour, I was like, oh, this is really good. I'll get this. And after that, I was just like, oh, I've played this. I'm still not very good at it. Because the things about Black Ops is they've always been very good at going, haha, here's a thing, surprise, and that would draw you in, like the remote control car bombs. In the first one, the general sort of
well-balanced
setting.
multiplayer with good design maps. That's the thing. And I've always thought the Black Ops storyline was impressive, especially Black Ops 2. I really enjoyed that. But it's even though it's good, for some reason Infinity Wars was always more addictive. But at the same time not as good, if you know what I mean. You played it more. You wanted to play an Infinity Ward multiplayer more, but you knew that the Black Ops one was better crafted. It's really odd.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, do you have the fucking Frankenburger with incredible amounts of outages and MSG, or do you go for the organic, possibly slightly flavorless one? One of them's better and you should like it more, but you can't. There's a reason that they're popular. That's because they tap into that thing in your head that goes, "Give me the points. I want the points."
Yeah, it's almost like the rank up music's a little bit louder in the Infinity Ward games, and like the XP indicator's always a little bit more.
It's a little bit
sort of-
shinier,
yeah, a little bit shinier. The gun's always a little bit more
beefy.
flamboyant. Yeah, it's just proper sort of MSG kills.
Yeah,
is the
there
only
goes.
way to
It's
say it.
it's the equivalent of Chinese takeout. You know you shouldn't have it, but you want more after half an hour.
Oh, it's an odd one, but I really had a soft spot for Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. Basically,
Well, Warfare 3 sucked.
a good way to rank it. I know this is an old discussion, but if you're going to rank the CODs, get at least a top 3. Mine so far would be Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare, and then Modern Warfare 2.
I want in on this game because I've played 2 CODs.
I
After you,
like
Alec, with your genuine one.
Call of Duty 2, probably the best one. No, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I played that one the most, the multiplayer. Then Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty World at War. No, Black Ops, then World at
Oh
War.
no, of course, yeah, no, mine, sorry, would be Black Ops 2, World at War, and Modern Warfare. Completely forgot
Well,
that. Absolutely love
Because I
World at
really
War.
liked World at
would
War.
be
It's so good.
Modern Warfare 2, followed by Call of Duty Big Red 1, the only other one I've played.
Oh,
I remember.
wow.
Oh,
Oh,
Big
God.
Red 1, that game that came out right as one
Is that a
generation died.
GameCube?
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
it
GameCube
came out
version,
right
yeah.
as that generation died, and then no one
that it
bought
was.
it.
So there we go. That is my
Oh, Big Red 1!
perceptive,
Fucking hell.
stunning
What
analysis
a
of the Call
blast
of
from the
Duty.
past.
What a terrible death knell of 2005 was Big Red 1.
Big Red 1. Oh, God,
Oh,
that
check
game.
out my low-res campaign that we've basically ported.
Oh, Big Red
We
1. I
haven't,
remember.
we haven't got the voice actors from Call of Duty 3, I'm afraid, so we're going to use cheap ones for Big Red 1.
Big Red 1.
Big
Oh,
Red
God, I
1.
remember that one.
I'm a little bit ashamed of you, Aaron, for saying that,
I
but
just
you're
never
entitled
had
to your
any great
view.
love for them.
World at War was amazing. The last Reichstag level, I can't believe I've forgotten about it. It's because I was thinking of modern-based games.
Nah,
But
Oh, it was really good.
so good. Best. I prefer Black Ops Story the most. Won't lie. Got a bit tired of World War II by 2008, but World at War's multiplayer with our recon plane will find them.
That is something that the Call of Duties are lacking, which is
And
comedy Germans.
yeah, it's so much comedy Germans, and if you want a match as a Wehrmacht, it would play it would play the Königgrätzer Marsch over as a vor uns liegt Deutschland, in uns marschiert Deutschland und hinter uns kommt
that's-
Deutschland.
Because that's something we've lost from World War II games, which is German soldiers loudly narrating what they're doing.
It's not so
I am
bad.
throwing.
It's like it's
I
like
am throwing a grenade now. I am
Okay.
reloading.
Granata,
Yeah, like that's something we missed.
Erdgeschosse, and the stuff like that.
I am
It was
flanking
brilliant.
the Americans.
Well,
Hello,
to Call of Duty's credit, they did actually have them talking in German for the most part.
I am wearing shorts. You know, like, all this sort of stuff. Like, I miss that.
Oh, it's
There's-
brilliant. I'm just remembering all the things that they used to shout at you when you're like, because you actually felt like there was a really angry German Obergruppenführer behind you, Hauptsturmführer, just going like, "You will fight and die under the Iron Cross."
Oh yeah. Oh god, it's so great. The multiplayer plays be fucking brilliant.
It's absolutely dead now, even on a PC. It's just full of hackers, and it's really upsetting. I don't have many emotional ties to video games, but I loved World at War, and to see it dead is quite a shame.
Because that was the first one that introduced like Gibbs and that, like you could actually like blow bits off people.
Yeah,
And have the
great.
dogs.
If you got a 50 caliber machine gun, you just take off someone's left side.
Yeah, like, bleh. Like look out, they are calling dogs, and then it's like
That's why it was an 18 as well, compared to
Yeah.
the usual 16 rating.
look out, dogs. Flamethrowers, that was
You'll
good.
never get that back. We'll never get that
We'll
back.
never-
That was
Actually-
one of those apexes in the progression of something.
You say that when I played the beta for Battle Ops, Black Ops 3.
Ops.
Battle Ops. There was a bit where I shot someone with a grenade launcher and they blew up into little nuggets, and I
Really?
went, whoa!
That's very un-Star Wars.
I remember. No, Battle and Black Ops. He meant.
Black Ops,
But yeah,
yeah.
I was
Black
there. I was
Ops, I see.
listening at the time. He was very shocked by this.
Just like what? He's turned into bits, Aaron. I was just like, he's gibbs. I've gibbed him. You don't gib people in Call of
Belongs
Duty
in that
games.
real tournament.
Yeah.
I
Or
won't
Gears
lie,
of War or Quake.
probably by early next year, still in the first half of the COD annual arc, I probably will get Black Ops 3, maybe in a January sale if it's on there.
Thing is, they
Half-price.
never go on sale.
It's true
No,
they
no,
don't. I mean,
can't.
even modern like Call of Duty for Modern Warfare and like Modern Warfare 2 on Steam are like ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, they
Even
don't
as
go on sale.
console, you still have to pay like £8
They are,
for COD 4.
They hold that price.
It's
And like, how long
impressive.
ago did that come out?
2007.
I know, and it's like nearly 10 years later. It's still just
Mm.
by a tenner, which is mental.
It was an absolute archetype for future multiplayer games, though.
Oh yeah, it was an archetype for just future shooters. I mean, when like everyone knows there's controls for a shooter now. It's right stick to melee, it's left trigger to aim. You know, we
I
all
did
know
laugh
this.
when Battlefront had that. No, when I like there was like my gun butt melee attack on
Yeah,
my trigger on my
bonk.
analog stick. I was like, God damn.
And I will say that for the Halo games, at least they're staying with their weird control schemes every time they bring a new one out.
Yeah.
Apart from the
That's
new one,
strange.
it
Have you
is.
seen a Halo 5 review?
9 out of 10, I saw.
Yeah, 9 out of 10. I was like, shit.
That
It's
is
gone.
impressive.
If you go on
Who's
the
making
Xbox
it now?
One
What
IGN,
studio's doing
343.
this?
It's a hand-picked selection of Microsoft employees who were just told to ape Bungie,
Oh.
but appear to now be doing better than Bungie.
Well, I mean, Microsoft
Possibly
does have
because
unlimited resource, so I can imagine they can pull that off pretty well.
I'm
Yeah.
on the Xbox One IGN page. There isn't a link to a Halo 5 review anywhere unless you click on the popular Xbox One games out
The
now.
Halo section.
And the top is Divinity Original Sin, and then in number 2 is Halo 5 Guardians. And they've criticised the weak characters, which is something that I think Halo couldn't do without really good characters. So I'm surprised.
that's why they're not to point off. Because they've added so many more, I think it makes them muddled.
Yeah.
Like because the old
Improved
Halos,
mechanics, dense levels, lots of guns, strong multiplayer. Yeah, it's apparently the best multiplayer since Halo 2, but it's got shit acting.
because also they've got like at least 8 characters that you can play as, and unfortunately
That's too
Halo.
many. So is Master Chief over then now?
No, he's in it. They're in it for like he's in it for like 3 levels.
Oh.
And you do play as him sometimes, but you mainly play as that actor, with Nathan Fillion in it,
Like the John Boyega equivalent.
the American John Boyega.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he was older. Yeah. So you're playing as these other Spartans who are chasing Master Chief because he's up to something, and then occasionally you swap to Master Chief and see what he's up to. But he's only in like 3 levels. You mainly play as the other one.
Is the
Which
plot
is-
supposed to be good? Or
I have Wikipedia'd it, and it sounds absolutely like it sounds
Bonkers?
like complete guff. Maybe
I
it's
see.
probably told in a good way, but I was always a fan of the Covenant and Flood stuff. That's my Halo.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
played
so
mod Halo 2's
I've-
plot for the Arbiter missions.
Yeah, I can't really get
The
on board
Prophets.
with this Promethean bollocks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really like the design of his enemies. Like, I know they're robots and they're spooky, and yeah, I'm just not. I don't like
I
falling
think
out.
you'd be a good prophet of a Baron, to be fair. It would
I'd
suit
make
you.
it.
but-
I enjoy. I think the Prophets are some of the best parts of Halo. I think killing
Oh,
a few
yeah.
of them was really good, really satisfying.
Jumping on that dude's chair and punching him to death.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
exactly. And the fracture in the Covenant that happened afterwards. I mean, I think the Covenant had some really good storylines to it.
The Covenant is good because like they think they're chosen and they're not. Basically, it's the fallen and humanity in Destiny. But
Yeah, Bungie stick to what they knew.
Yeah.
what do we know? Guns, jumping, high. Aliens, kind of humanish, but not.
Bullet sponges.
So does anyone have a sign off for Game November? What should we take away from the state of the game industry come the end of 2015?
I think that while everyone's a lot of time people say, "Oh, it's the death of the games industry because of DLC." It's not. I think someone put it in a way that games are now more expensive to develop than ever before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
Because they
better-
have to be longer, they have to look brilliant, or you won't get a look in. The market's saturated, but game pricing hasn't gone up. In fact, if anything, it's almost got cheaper,
It has a little bit, yeah. Because
especially PC games. You
Well,
know,
true.
new PC games can be 30 quid.
But remember,
Yeah.
like in Xbox 360 generation, Xbox 360 games that brand new release back in like up to 2009 were about £50. on
Oh yeah,
release.
there
And
was
now they're
still,
44, sometimes 42, if not less.
but
Like we all got Destiny under 40 quid in September, so you know.
It's true.
yeah, and
And,
also,
oh, no, go on.
no, you go. I'll do my thing
I was
afterwards.
going to say my tagline was buy Fallout unless you'll fall out with your friends, in which case buy Battlefront.
Oh, very
Yeah.
good.
Nice.
My thing is that the DLC is not killing it. It's just it's that, or you have to pay more for point of access. Games will get more expensive, and it's only which one do you choose. And I think, like every end of the year, I think November is going to be the thing where I think it's finally going to be next gen consoles are now a thing you should get if you don't have one and aren't a PC
Yeah.
gamer. Because before you could get the games from
Destiny.
last gen. You could get
Yeah,
Destiny, you could get
yeah.
Metal Gear Solid and on the last gen, and they all look fine. You get Titanfall, that's going to be a big next gen launch title. You
The
get
bundle.
Flopped.
Yeah. Well, no, it was proper for about 2 weeks. And I think that it's getting to the point now where the next gen consoles are actually sort of justifying their own existence. And
Yeah,
hopefully, I think, because you had The Witcher, and that was like, oh my god, this is crazy.
That was,
And I
that was
think,
the beginning of it, I think, when they
Yeah.
showed that The Witcher could run on the console. Kind of people who didn't want to invest in building a PC could go, oh shit, I can play it now.
I can finally play The Witcher. Yeah.
Which would be really
Um,
good if they re-released 1 and 2, I think, for the PS4 and Xbox One.
Well, you can get it for 15 quid for 360 Witcher 2.
That is true. But apparently I had a friend who bought Witcher 2 for his middle generation 360, like the Elite, the one that was supposed to be good, and it melted it.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
It's not meant to be run on a dual-core 2005 mid-range PC, which is what the Xbox 360 was, and The Witcher 2 was a high-end early 2011 release. That's still difficult to run like on max on a current rig, so it was bound to happen. It's a brilliant
Sounds
game. I
heaven.
love it. I absolutely adore the game. So
Yeah. So basically, the game industry's not dying. November's gonna be fun.
Yep.
Try not to be despaired about DLC. James Bond's still good, even if people grumble about it.
and
Batista's
watch Bone
great.
Tomahawk. If
Watch Bone
you-
Tomahawk.
Watch Bone Tomahawk.
It's got
A film
Patrick
I
Wilson
I
and
thoroughly
Kurt
endorsed
Russell.
it.
It's got two fantastic horror actors.
Star Wars will kick ass.
Yeah, Bone Tomahawk. I think that's how I've got to sign off. That's my. That's also my.
We didn't actually talk about
my,
Bone Tomahawk.
my,
We
no,
just
that's
mentioned it
why
in
I'm doing
passing.
it now. My verdict on Game November is actually Bone Tomahawk.
Okay.
A twist no one saw coming.
Bone Tomahawk.
It
I
will
think
do.
Sell
Just
your
no,
PS,
you
sell your
can
PS4,
watch it. It's
just
good.
buy a DVD player and Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk.
you-
Yeah. If
good.
if you don't want Fallout because you don't want a big RPG, but don't want Battlefront, you don't like EA,
Yeah.
buy a DVD copy of Bone Tomahawk featuring Kurt Russell
And Patrick
And-
Wilson.
Who?